Hey guys, this video is for educational purposes only. Please do not break the law. Hey Michael, welcome to the Growers MBA podcast. You're the co-founder of Holland Green Science, one of the most advanced technology companies in the cannabis space today. Why don't you tell me a little about yourself, Michael?
Yeah, James, first of all, thanks a lot for the invitation to join you today. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Holland Green Science. And my background was in traditional scientific equipment and instruments. Spent many years with some large manufacturers and companies in that space. And in the height of the COVID pandemic, my partner and I decided to launch Holland Green Science. We're actually based in the Netherlands, our international company. And then in 2021, we launched Holland Green Science USA here in Chicago.
Awesome. And so your company was originally based in the Netherlands. Was that because obviously like the Netherlands had cannabis legalization? I'm not sure if it's legalized, but it was much more popular and available there for a long time. So was that the reason?
It was mainly because of my partner, but no, the legacy and history of cannabis in the Netherlands is renowned. I mean, it's legendary. Ironically, the legislation these days are a little bit more murky, and it's probably not the most welcoming place. The main thing is we had a very close cooperation with a Institute for Agricultural and Food Sciences located in the Netherlands. And we had a lot of our designers, engineers, and a lot of our team there. And myself, I've always kind of had one foot in each continent, in Europe and here in the States. So, and then we saw the future of cannabis in Europe as well emerging, and we just figured it was a good place to start.
Yeah, it really surprised me recently because I had heard that the cannabis isn't necessarily legal in Amsterdam and in the Netherlands, which was super surprising me because when I went there in 2018, it was everywhere. I mean, you could go into every single shop. I was like, it's not legal, really? So super surprising for me to hear that. And that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's always been a little bit of a gray area and murky, and the Dutch have always been very creative entrepreneurs, so they carved down a space. But I've been going to the Netherlands since the late 80s, so I've seen that whole evolution. But yeah, it's still an important place in the cannabis global culture, and we're really proud of our background there as well.
Okay, awesome. So, Michael, tell me a bit about Holland Green Science and what problem you guys are solving. So, you guys obviously have a lot of scientific equipment, but what type of problem are you guys solving, and who is your main customer base?
Yeah. So again, before I launched Holland Green Science, I had another company, which I still have, which is called Cannabis. And what Cannabis did was consulting, lab build outs, and we sold equipment as well. And what I really started to notice at that point was what we call green gouging, which is typically cannabis people were paying a much higher price for what I would call standard laboratory equipment, tools, instruments than other markets were. And in addition to that, you didn't get any aftermarket support. You didn't get any real FaceTime or phone calls returned. Everybody liked to take your money, but they never wanted to give you the level of customer service that I feel you deserve in any market. So the first problem we wanted to solve with Holland Green Science was to take a world-class customer service experience to the cannabis market, which means that you have safe, reliable, high-value equipment, but that's cost-effective and a good value for the customer. And with that being said, that you could get on a phone with a technician and explain your specific issue with any of our equipment and not have to be cryptic, not have to pretend it's for something else. You could be transparent, straightforward, and tell us. And our technicians have experiencing in all the different forms of processing and cannabis extraction. So we were able to support people. But we wanted to also bring some innovation to the market as well to solve what we saw as some of the bottlenecks, some of the problems within the market. And that's what we set out from day one was, again, world-class customer experience for our customers, to have that support that they needed after they purchased our equipment, and to have resident experts help them solve their problems. And at the end of the day, get high quality equipment at a good value.
Cool. So there's a couple things you mentioned there that I want to touch on. Number one, you talked about your aftermarket support, and that's something I really want to touch on a lot because a lot of these machines, a lot of the equipment, they are expensive, and a lot of people they might be a little bit worried about purchasing the equipment, and making that investment. So when it comes to your guys' warranty, return information, and your aftermarket support, could you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that were paramount for us is safety as well. We wanted safe equipment. At the end of the day, that's the number one concern for any manufacturing environment, any laboratory environment. So, all of our equipment to begin with is UL or ETL certified here in North America and the States.
Let me interrupt you for just one second. Could you explain what that is? UL certified? Why is that?
Yeah, so UL certified is a benchmark, again, within any industry that involves electronics. It stands for Underwriters Laboratory. And you can look around in your home, whether it's a coffee pot or any electronic appliance. All of those items within your house, for the most part, will have a UL certification or ETL certification. In Europe, it's CE, which is even a more robust type of certification. And what that does is it tells you, the consumer, that this product has been vetted, it's safe, the components are acceptable, and at the end of the day, the risk for any type of fire, electrocution, these type of issues, which unfortunately are common with a lot of equipment within the cannabis market, those risks have been mitigated as much as possible. And again, it's a mark of certification. That means your products have gone through those testing, that evaluation, to make sure it's safe for your use. And then when it comes to our products, also, all of our products have robust warranties, anywhere from 3 years to a minimum of 1 year on our products. And with that, also, we pick up the phone, we answer our email inquiries, and we have technicians, engineers, customer service people that are available in real time to provide you the support you need. What we want to do is make sure our customers are getting the results they need, the ROIs they expect from our machines. And just to give you one example of how we handle this, with our Zeros Micro freeze dryer, for example, which is a very popular piece of equipment for the solventless industry, when we send a unit out to a customer, we provide them with an SOP on how to make bubble hash. We also provide a white paper that we developed on the principles of freeze drying, basically a crash course on understanding what freeze drying is all about, and installation instructions, all of that. But what's most important, we think, is all of our customers, whether they take advantage of it or not, that's up to them, but we find probably 90% do, is we give you one-on-one time with one of our technicians, which help you get orientated with the machine, get it set up, do those initial settings for your bubble hash application, if that's the case, and make sure if you've got questions, we can address them right away as you begin your experience with our equipment. And this is something you don't see in the industry, and even a lot of other industries. So at the end of the day, we're here, and things happen. Any company that says they don't have any issues with quality or any failure rates or anything like that, they're being deceitful. Everyone does. The best companies in the world. How you judge a company, in my opinion, are how those problems are solved. And with us, we understand for our customers, these aren't toys. These aren't, something for recreational activities. People's livelihoods are tied to this equipment. Their businesses depend on these pieces of equipment working. And so downtime is crucial. So we typically, if we have an issue, and they don't happen frequently, but when they do, the first thing we do is, if we can't do a quick fix, if there's something that's not just a simple solution that we can walk you through to get back up, we immediately send a new piece of equipment out to you. Get it replaced, get you up and running. We'll deal with the return of the other unit after you get moving. But so time is of the essence in business. And, that's just an example of the way we treat our customers. There are going to be issues. And when they are, we take it very serious. And we want to make sure our customer has a resolution to their problem immediately. And that's the way we've been operating since we started here.
Hey guys, quick interruption here. I just want to let you know that every single product mentioned on this episode is available for sale at greenthumbdepot.com. We love hearing from growers just like you. So if you mention that you heard about us on this episode, we might even be able to throw in a bit of a discount. You can shoot me a personal email at james@greenthumbdepot.com or give us a call at 833-416 0375. We have the best prices on the internet and the best customer service. Not to mention, we offer free shipping across the continental US with no sales tax outside of Nevada. All right, let's get back to the episode. I love to hear it. And I can also comment on that. I've worked with you guys quite a bit. You guys are super fast at responding to any questions. And I think your guys' customer service is amazing. We love working with you guys. It's really, really easy. And you guys have always been super trustworthy and honest. We love that. So, and it also sounds like basically what you said is that anybody can come in. You don't need to be some scientist with a lab coat on to come in and use your guys' equipment, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, we have what I would consider laboratory tools and part of our product assortment that can be in a wide range of applications, not just for cannabis. What we try to do is, walk people through, make them understand how this tool can be used. A lot of our equipment is what I would call ancillary equipment to different extraction processes. So, whether it's our vacuum ovens that support, for example, BHO extraction, or our rotary evaporators, which will support a CO2 or a distillation process, or our freeze dryers, which are really one of the key areas of solventless production. We're there, and we work with all the people in the market who make hash washers or CO2 systems or that as well. So we have an intimate knowledge of all these other pieces of equipment to kind of help you put all the pieces together. But again, a lot of our customers, they're not PhDs, they're not lab professionals, and we understand that, and we're here to boil it down and make sure it makes sense to them. Now, with that being said, cannabis is our core market and one that we're very passionate about, but we also sell into a variety of other markets, and we deal with people, whether they're doing advanced type of research, food production, you name it, a lot of different areas. And we're able to, again, provide a very good insight and guidance to these customers as well.
Cool. And there's something you mentioned here that I think maybe a lot of people might get confused about. I know I certainly got confused about when I got into the space. The different types of extraction, the benefits of them. And I know you could probably talk all day about this, but could we touch on it like very briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's kind of do a little thumbnail of the different extraction separation methods. So, and it's kind of evolved as well. There have been some trends and some maybe even fads with some of this and the different concentrates desired by the market and that. But when I got into the space, distillate was king. Okay. And distillation is, again, it's a process that's being used in a lot of different applications, whether it's your peppermint oil, eucalyptus oils, or again, spirits, you name it. Again, this is where the first vape pens were distillate, and that I remember the first time I saw a vape pen many years ago, kind of blew my mind, So that's one that has been a big part of the market, and it's had ups and downs. The price of distillate went down dramatically for a while. It's etching back up a little bit now, but that was kind of one of the first methods. Another one is what we call BHO, or butane hash oil. This is using butane. That alone tells you what you need to know. Back in the day, the equipment wasn't very safe, and there were a lot of unfortunate and very tragic accidents using this type of process. Over the years, the equipment has gotten much better, and the BHO products have had a big resurgence in the market too, being very desirable. And again, with this type of process, we don't make BHO extractors, but we have, for example, vacuum ovens that are used as an ancillary product for that. And then CO2 is another one, and this is again to get the CO2 oils that again have been very common, and again for not just THC but CBD extraction. And again, we have a lot of equipment that complements and is an ancillary type of piece of equipment for that. And then I think what is really kind of emerged now is the kind of newest, biggest trend is what we call solventless. And solventless is, if you want to be very scientific about it, it's really not solventless, because technically water is a solvent, and that's what you're using is ice cold water to separate trichome from the biomass. And, back in the day, we used old bubble bags, hand washers. Things have moved on now to big scale and much more automated. But one of the real bottlenecks in the solventless process was drying your bubble hash, which is what you're making at the end of the day. And, a long time ago, we used to do it just let Mother Nature and air take care of it, Well, that created a lot of problems, as you can imagine, with mold and mildew and just inconsistencies in the product, and then scale as well and time. It was an issue and really couldn't scale up for this type of application. Well, years ago, the first what we call home or food grade freeze dryers started to come out into the market, and that solved what a lot of people thought was that problem. And this gave a real boost to the solventless bubble hash rosin market. And but with that being said, as someone who bought a lot of our competitors' machines, they had a lot of issues. They weren't UL certified. They had no focus at all on our application, the bubble hash application. And so one of the first things I wanted to do was manufacture a freeze dryer that was much more focused on this application to solve a lot of those issues that we had with that production. So again, I would say that of all these different processes, they're all viable. Each one has its niche within the market. But I'd have to say at this time, right now, the trend is solventless. It's a very attractive product for people. At the end of the day, you're using some type of reagent or chemical, if you will, to do extraction with the other methods that I mentioned. But the solventless bubble hash rosin products, it's just water. That's it, agitation and water. And as most consumers find, that's reassuring, comforting to know that it's really a very clean, natural product. But I think the quality of the product as well, whether it's a really good rosin or bubble hash, the terpenes are there. It's very complex, the notes you pick up with a rosin compared to, again, especially a distillate product or that. So it's a very desirable product now in most markets, commands a higher price. And again, it's what I think is the real trend right now with the different extraction methods.
Cool. And just to clarify, so you guys carry, so for the solventless extraction methods, it's basically going to be Xyrus Micro, freeze dryer, and then I noticed you guys also have the rosin presses as well.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that we've always wanted to do at Holland Green Science was, our customer base includes the biggest MSOs in the country and some of the biggest producers in the country, multi-state operators on that level as well. But we've always had a soft spot and a real focus and dedication to what I would call the craft producers and the small people, the people who are maybe just not even commercialized. They're making for themselves, their friends, their family. And with that being said, our rosin presses are really geared towards these customers. It's for small scale production. We do work with some other people who make, much more substantial, automated, higher capacity presses in the market as well. But with that being said, also we have a cart filler that we call the Magma that is great for all of these products I just mentioned, whether you're filling cartridges with distillate or CO2 oil or rosin. Our fillers have been a fantastic product for these smaller producers, but even the big producers like to use them for the R&D process, validate things and that as well. And again, like all of our products, it was something that was developed to solve problems. Years ago, when we used to use some of the first cart fillers in the market, they weren't safe. You could always tell the people who were filling carts all day because they had burns all over their hands, unfortunately. So we developed a filler that has an internal heating mechanism. It's very safety orientated. And again, these are just the problems we're always trying to look at: efficiencies, quality, safety.
All right, so Michael, I have a question. Let's say I am a medium-sized farm, whatever, any size farm. I guess it doesn't really matter. And I've got just harvested, had a great harvest, have tons of flour ready to go, and I'm looking to get the best possible ROI from this batch. And I'm coming to Holland Green Science. What would you suggest I do? And which machines should I invest in? What would be the process of taking this harvest and making as much money as possible from it?
There's a lot of ways you can approach it. And, what I always tell people is, determine what your core competency is, what you're good at, and build on that to begin with. So, I'm not an expert hash maker, for example, but I know enough to know that you need the right cultivars. So, one of the questions I'll always ask is, what's your biomass look like? What's your goal here? So with what I said earlier, I always tell people, listen, you're going to get a much better price for your end product with solventless, with bubble hash and rosin, than you would with distillate, CO2, and that. But again, what you're doing will lend itself to that application. So I would say, first off, take a serious look at doing solventless. It's where the demand is. It's where the higher prices are. You're going to get, I think, your biggest ROI from there if your biomass is suitable. With that being said, one of the first applications that we came out with at Holland Green Science with our big, what we call our Zeros 2 freeze dryer, is freeze-dried flower. We've worked with a company called CryoCure that have used our machines to sell into this market. This is where you get some interesting ROI as well. Again, it's a subjective matter. I think when freeze-dried flower is done exceptional, it's a great product. However, when it's done wrong with some of our competitors' machines and without the expertise, it's not desirable at all, at least by myself. And when you're doing freeze-dried flower, what you're talking about is condensing that drying and curing process from what could be weeks, or in some cases, people, will cure for very prolonged periods of time, into a 24-hour cycle. So you've cut a lot of time. You've cut a lot of labor by doing traditional hanging and drying. You've condensed your footprint on how much space you need to conduct that. So that could be an option as well.
Yeah, let me just clarify I'm understanding correctly. So if you have the wet bud that you haven't hung to dry or anything like that, you could throw that into the Zyros Micro 1 or both of them, or just the two?
You could do it in both. It's all about scale. So our Zeros 2 is what we call a pilot scale machine. It's much bigger. It's a very big machine. But one of the things with the versatility of the micro is that our units come with a standard 9-shelf configuration, which is ideal for the bubble hash, okay? But one thing, we're the only freeze dryer on the market, is the versatility. So you can easily pull out the tray assembly for that 9-shelf configuration for the bubble hash and slide in. Literally takes 2 minutes. Anybody can do it. And you could buy one of our accessory trays, shelf assemblies, which come in a 5 or a 7 or a 3. And now you've got a lot more space between your trays, and you can freeze dry flower in it. We've got people doing that. That's what I think for these smaller growers, the micro offers a lot of versatility. We've got customers who are making bubble hash in our machines, doing some of their product as freeze-dried flower, and also doing infused edibles that are freeze-dried. Now they've got 3 products that they're doing in our machine. I've seen some very small craft people that, they make rosin, but then they also make freeze-dried candy and sell that on the internet as well. So I think our micro offers, unlike any of our competitors, a lot of versatility where this one machine can now make a lot of different products for you. So back to your original question, you've got a lot of this biomass. How's the best way to make the best ROI on this? That's a discussion that we'll have with customers all the time, and it's really finding out, where are their passions? What do they like to do? Because there's a lot of answers for that. You may want to just do it all as flour and not do any type of extraction. You may want to focus on doing some, a little bit of variety where you're doing, freeze-dried flour, you're doing rosin, and even edibles. So it all depends on that particular customer. But there are a lot of options with our equipment.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge selling point, just the versatility of things. If someone invests in one of your guys' products, they can try things out, which I think people are going to love. Let's have some kind of fun questions here. I'd love to hear about maybe a success story that one of your customers has, like maybe they invested in some of your guys' company, they were doing X amount of revenue and now they're doing more, or anything you could share would be awesome.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of great stories. To be honest, James, we get new testimonials and feedback from our customers every day. So, whether, again, it's these smaller customers, when we were at MJ Biz this past December in Vegas, we had customers coming up to us who were very proud of their product. Let's say that. What they were doing was they were coming up and showing us rosin that they had produced with our competitors' machines, and then they would show us what they were making with our machines. And, the look on their faces said a lot. They were proud. They were excited about what was happening. We were happy for them. But even the team, we started to notice, it's like they'd open up the canister of the first one. Great, looks good, good product. when they'd open the ones that they used Holland Green Science freeze dryers with, they barely crack open that jar and we'd catch the terps coming our way. So it's like you didn't even have to tell us. All you had to do was let us smell. But to see these type of small scale success stories, nothing to do about ROIs or profitability or anything like that. It was just people really taking pride in continuously improving their end product and letting us know how much they appreciated us for helping them to do that. We love that all day long. But then on the other end of the spectrum, one of the MSOs that we started to work with kept telling us horror stories about the machines they were using, one of our competitors, how many broke down units they had, the safety issues they were having, the amount of downtime, and then the quality of the product that was coming out wasn't there. And, I remember when we sold our first unit to this MSO, and I asked him, listen, would you like my technician to jump on a call with your team? We got an SOP for bubble hash. We'll walk you through everything and that. And he just smiled and he said, no, Mike, you gave us everything we've asked for. And the only time we hear from them is when they reorder more units. And what they were able to do with our machine was, again, not have to have idle machines all over their facility because they were broke down. They had machines that were, again, workhorses, that were designed to be run every day, all day long. And that's what they needed. And most importantly, though, was the quality. Again, our Zeros Micro, we made that with a focus on cannabis. We have a vacuum control valve that our competitors don't have. That means better terp preservation at the end of the day. Also, the ability to have a fully programmable machine. We don't use an algorithm that essentially fries your material like our competitors. It's fully programmable. And what we know this MSO does now is they use our program slots. There's 4 of them to have their proprietary settings plugged in for 4 different types of applications that they're doing, 4 different types of rosin, different cultivars. And the results, they speak for themselves, and they've been very happy. So, whether it's on the small scale or the big scale, again, we've been able to solve problems with, efficiencies, productivity, and quality overall at the end of the day.
Awesome. I think people hearing that is going to really touch a nerve with a lot of people. Just the fact that the quality. Because what I've noticed talking to tons of people in the cannabis space is they really do take a lot of pride in their product. It is kind of a fun thing. Like, look at how good this is. So I think that's going to be something people are going to hear that and love that.
Yeah. And that's something that we keep thinking about too. And especially building off our experience at MJ Biz is we're starting to think about how we can put together a little kind of Holland Green Science rosin cup, hash cup. And to take a look at all of our customers who are getting great results. And again, a lot of our team are rosin aficionados, or at least we consider ourselves to be. And just as a way to give back to, again, our customers and the community is to maybe host a cup of our own and let the public decide who's making the best product with our machines. But there's some really outstanding product right now that's being made all across, not just North America, but even in Europe, Spain. We have some great customers doing some unbelievable stuff as far down to South Africa, of course, in Canada, the US, South America. So it would truly be a global competition.
Awesome. I'd love to see that. Okay, let's finish this off. I would just love to hear your opinions on a couple questions as you've been in the space for so long. What are some of the biggest challenges facing cannabis producers today?
Well, the market has definitely gone through what I would say one of the roughest years we've had this past year. And again, I think that the federal legislation is yet to come. Again, we've made a lot of progress state by state, but ultimately that is the big issue that needs to be solved. You see the cycle play over and over again. A new state comes online. They don't have the capacity. They have very high demand. Prices are high initially, and the consumer is left, quite frankly, in a bad position because there's not enough for high quality product. Within a year, there's too much capacity in the market. And if you look at some of the more mature markets like California, Colorado, Again, there's just way too much biomass. Until things get straightened down federally, I think we're going to still have some issues. I have to say also, though, that there has been a level of some skills lacking within the cannabis community. I think a lot of people rushed into the space thinking it was easy money to be made. And basically all you had to do was throw something against the wall and you'd be rich and famous. And the cannabis market's like any other business. You need to be good at what you do. You need to work hard, bring something to the customer that's of value. And that's what we've always focused on. The other thing is professionalism. One of the things I was talking about was bringing that whole customer experience that most people take for granted, for example, in the scientific market, and making that just the standard way of doing business in cannabis. Well, that requires a level of professionalism. And the most successful people in the cannabis space that I've seen are people that came maybe from other markets with some skill sets, some knowledge, and real experience that translates well into ours, and they can really offer something here. And I think I'm really encouraged by what I'm seeing as far as some of the educational programs now for extraction technicians, for example, that are starting to happen. And again, I think that as the level of professionalism is elevated within our market, some of these legislative things that are sorted out eventually, again, things are going to be fine. As an analogy I often make is I think the cannabis market in a way is in the puberty phase of our development. We're out of that infancy of the market, and now everybody thought they knew everything, like a teenager, had all the answers. They didn't have to learn anything new. We're ready to go on. And as we know, most teenagers don't make a lot of good decisions in life. I think that's what we're working our way out of now. And I think that as the market continues to mature and we learn from our past experiences and get some of those best practices from other markets in our market, I think things will be fine. But I'm very optimistic, especially in Europe. There's a lot of great things happening there right now. I think that market's getting ready to take off. And again, I think that the consensus just continues to build in the United States. Cannabis is here to stay. It needs to be legal and safe for everyone. I think our best days are still ahead of us.
Love to hear it. And final question. Let's say I've just maybe grown my first 5 or 6 plants. I've harvested them and stuff. And I'm looking to get into the space. I'm looking to make a splash. Do you have any advice for someone like that?
Yeah, I think it goes back to a little bit what I touched on. So I would first of all ask yourself, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? And then build off of that. Everybody thinks it's just growing cannabis or extracting that is the only opportunities within cannabis. And I think we're starting to see now, you could be a chef, get into this market. We have here in Chicago where I'm based, Cresco employed this woman, Mindy, who had a very famous restaurant here in Chicago, and she developed edibles for them. There's chefs that are doing infused dinners and that. Are you a marketing person? Maybe you get into, marketing or event planning. So I think the first thing to understand with cannabis is there's a lot of avenues to go down here. It's just not cultivation, extraction, retail sales or that. There's a lot of it. So I always tell people, what are you passionate about? What do you think you're good at? And then build on that. And if you do want to be involved with the plant and you want to build off that, again, I always say quality first. If you have something that is the best, the opportunities will come. They might not come immediately, but word gets out, just like our company. It takes some time, and then the people will come. And then the other thing I would also say is try to think ahead a little. Try to be unique in the space. Have something different. And that's what we're starting to see now with some of the whether it's something like a freeze-dried edible. Okay, you can go to a dispensary. There is a plethora of gummies out there, all different kinds, flavors, different cannabinoids in them and everything. But now we're starting to see something that's really a little unique, which is a building off that popularity of freeze-dried candies now as an edible. It's different. It's going to have its own place. It's going to stand out a little bit. That's just one little example. There's still a lot of room for new ideas, creativity, trying to figure out what's going to be the next best thing. In my opinion, that's always a good way to approach it. So again, do what you're passionate about, what you believe in, what you're good at. Try to be unique in the market and look forward. Always look forward.
Well, basically, what I'm hearing is just like with everything else in life, come up with something where the quality is undeniable and you will stand out. Don't cut corners. Don't be lazy. Really, really, really learn about the industry. Learn about how you can optimize your grow. Learn about how, stay on top of the latest trends. And it sounds like you'll be successful.
Absolutely. Never be content with where you're at with quality. Again, from my background in manufacturing, that continuous improvement, that's what we're all about. And all of our products, like our Zeros Micro, for example, we're going to have some surprises coming up in the future there as well, which I think will have a lot more enhancements and a lot more value to customers as well down the road. But we're always looking, what's the next level we can take it to. So.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Michael, this was extremely educational. I'm so grateful for you joining me on this call. And have a great day.
My pleasure. I appreciate it, James, and you have a great day.